So there's a lot of people who they want to be on fire for God. They want to be on fire for Jesus, but there's a certain sin that they can't get rid of. So they feel like they just want to throw Jesus away. Like they don't want to surrender to him because of that one sin that they can't let go. I just wanted to share with y'all my testimony. So whenever I found Jesus, whenever I decided that I really wanted to be serious about him and give my life to him, I was living in sin. I was with my then boyfriend, the father of my kids, and we were living together. We were not married. I was so on fire for God. I wanted to just shout him off to the rooftops, but that was that conviction. I was like, how am I going to be over here, preaching and teaching about God, yet I'm over here living a lifestyle of sin? Because, I mean, no matter how you put it, when you live with someone you're not married to, or you are intimate with someone you're not married to, you can't, no matter what, it's a sin. So it was really killing me. And, I hated being intimate with my husband, knowing that I was sinning. So what I did was I gave it to Jesus. I said, Lord, I know that you don't approve of what I'm doing, and I'm giving you this situation, Lord. Open a door. If you want me to move out, if you want me to stay away from my husband, from my then boyfriend, just make a way for me, Lord. Until we get married. I gave it to him. And guess what he did, guys? He made a way for me to get away from my husband until we got married. Long story short, my suegros, one of them had to have a surgery over here in Mexico, so they needed help running their store. So they sent me over here to help, and I stayed here for about like 4 or 5 months helping them with their store away from my husband. And during that time, I would speak to my husband every night, and I would tell him, my convictions and that I wanted to get married. So by the time I got back at the time I was living around San Antonio, Texas. By the time I got back to San Antonio, Texas, 2 months later, we got married. And this is the crazy part, was in those 2 months, he already had waited for me for the 4 or 5 months. In those 2 months that I was with him, that was only an act of God, because my husband has a high, sex drive. But he actually waited, and my husband, he was not a believer of Jesus, and he still is, and I'm working on that with him. We're still unequally yoked. But he actually waited for me. And most guys, they'll be like, what? You're not going to open your legs to me? Bye, Felicia. So that in itself was an act of God right there. That was a miracle. God was making a way for me. And finally, we got married, and now I could freely go and speak the word of God. So I just wanted to share that testimony, that if you're living with sin, ask the Lord. He will meet you where you're at, and he will make a way. You just ask him, say, Lord, remove this sin out of my life. Open a door for me so that I could flee away from this sin. Make a way for me. And he will, guys. He will.